to the importance of finding common ground. But I also believe, and it's personal, and I was actually it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing. And, you know, there was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me. So I will tell you that on this subject, it cannot be an intellectual debate among Democrats. We have to take it seriously. We have to act swiftly. As Attorney General of California, I was very proud to put in place a requirement that all my special agents would wear body cameras and keep those cameras on.
Senator Harris, thank you. Vice President Biden, you have been invoked. We are going to give you a chance to respond. Vice President Biden.
It's a mischaracterization of my position across the board. I did not praise racists. That is not true, number one. Number two, if we want to have this campaign litigated on who supports civil rights and whether I did or not, I'm happy to do that. I was a public defender. I didn't become a prosecutor. I came out and I left a good law firm to become a public defender when, in fact, because of civil rights, I continue to think we have to make fundamental changes in civil rights. And those civil rights, by the way, include not just only African Americans, but the LGBT community.
But Vice President Biden, do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America then?
No,
do you agree?
I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education. That's what I opposed.
Well, there was a failure of states to integrate public schools in America. I was part of the second class to integrate Berkeley, California public schools almost 2 decades after Brown v. Board of Education.
Because your city council made that decision. It was a local decision.
So that's where the federal government must step in. That's why we have the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act. That's why we need to pass the Equality Act. That's why we need to pass the ERA, because there are moments in history where states fail to preserve the civil rights of all people.
I have supported the ERA from the very beginning when I ran for the
Vice President Biden, 30 seconds, because I want to bring other people into this.
I supported the ERA from the very beginning. I'm the guy that extended the Voting Rights Act for 25 years. We got to the place where we got 98 out of 98 votes in the United States Senate doing it. I've also argued very strongly that we, in fact, deal with the notion of denying people access to the ballot box. I agree that everybody, once they, in fact, they should. Anyway, my time's up.
Good evening. Welcome to the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Well, former Vice President Biden finally chose his running mate. And as I predicted on last night's program, that program, by the way, should have aired Monday. I mentioned that I believe that it was a strong possibility that Kamala Harris was going to be possibly the running mate that former Vice President Joe Biden would choose. You know, when Biden got up in front of the podium, he greeted everyone, but Biden sounded very weak. And for the most part, it was just taking a few pot shots at President Trump. He said Trump that how to have the pandemic under control, and most of us already know that that's not the truth. That's just a thing like there are peaceful protesters in Portland. It's another joke. There are no peaceful protesters. Right now, all we have is violent Antifa and BLM, the Black Lives Matter movement. Biden almost sounded intoxicated the way he was talking. Speaking of things like having been already accomplished, that have already been accomplished by President Trump, I listened to this, I'm like, man, this stuff's already been accomplished. Why are we repeating this stuff and act like you're doing it? We're going to bring the economy back. The economy already coming back. We already had an uptake of 9 million jobs over the last few months. So where has President Trump not helped to bring the economy back? Anybody know? He outright lied about jobs records because of this engineered virus, climate change hoax. He said we were wrong for climate change hoax, but it's a hoax. What happened in 1948 when the temperature went up so high? Was it climate change then? Was the ozone too? No, we didn't even have the gasoline vehicles we had. He mispronounces running mate's name several times. The one that made me laugh the hardest was the vote for the team of Biden and Hayden. I'm like, Biden and Hayden? Who is that? And I hate when he stands against his stance against segregation back in the 70s. He voted and he caused this gentleman that transferred over from one of the other parties. He was a segregationist, and Biden said that was his best buddy. Let me tell you, he appeared to me to be weak and lazy. Mr. Biden, we want President Trump who cares about the people, not people who are trying to hurt our oil industry here in Texas and all around the country, raise our taxes, and want to take away religious freedom, because these are the things that the Democratic Party are allowing to go on. He said something about Obama, and he said that Obama, under his leadership, that there was only 2 deaths under the Ebola crisis years ago. Well, President Trump nor President Biden had any control over the disease or virus. If that were possible, then I'm pretty sure our president would have taken control of it. But what he did pretty much is the only thing he could have done. Shut our borders down, tried his best to help along and make things easy to overcome. Then he goes on to talk about workers who want to keep to be at work. Give me a break. And the mayors of the Democratic cities and the governors want to keep people out of work. He talks about the workers and what do you call it? The healthcare workers. Then he talks about the restaurant workers. All these people were shut down during this thing, and because of Democratic policies, they caused us all to be out of work. Those of us who work in the service industry and so forth. So this thing that he's talking about with is all these situations involving being out of work and everything else. And pardon me for my little notes here. I got my little notes here because I actually took notes as I listened to the thing that happened a few hours ago. This program, of course, is airing on Thursday, which will be next day. But the conference was on, the press conference was on Wednesday. But this is a sad day for the Democratic Party. But even sadder for the American people if they vote for these two, Kamala Harris and former Vice President Biden. She calls him Joe, honored and ready to get to work. She is not the first black woman who's run for president. Anybody remember Shirley Chisholm? We keep talking about all these other people, and we ignore the people who had pretty much the same effect on the vote race, because if you remember correctly, she dropped out in June, shortly after the debate. They instituted an engineered virus, and then they engineered this coming out of Antifa and BLM, and she talked about President Trump, she talked about President Trump, and I don't know who she was talking about. I've never heard anything about this person that she was talking about. The description she gave of our president was totally way off some darn where. It had nothing to do with the truth. She attacked African Americans through the California judicial system when she was there, giving people sentences for, I don't agree with the smoking of marijuana, but she was giving them sentences for smoking marijuana that were far above what was required under the law. She's done a lot, if you want to know the truth, in California. Look, check the record. She's done a lot to hurt the African American people as a district attorney. We're going to take a short break. We're going to be right back with you in a moment to further discuss these things, and then we're going to talk about the president's response to that situation, or that bringing out of the vice president. We're going to take a short, Vice President running mate, we're going to take a short break here. You're watching The Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Welcome back. You're watching The Black Conservative Voice here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Biden and Harris is truly a corrupt ticket for the Democratic Party. You got a guy that we call Quid Pro Joe because he very clearly, in front of the American people, he made a statement, and they honored the quid pro quo in Ukraine, the president there. And not only that, if you don't vote for the Democratic ticket, you aren't black. If you vote for President Trump, you ain't black. This is what he said. And he said it was cavalier. Those aren't cavalier, Mr. Biden. These are things that you've constantly done throughout the years. Oh, I don't want to bring my kids up in the jungle. Anybody remember back in the 70s? Bring my kids up in the jungle. What were you referring to about a jungle in the school, the public school system? You don't want to put them in the public school system. Well, I tell you, I'm praying for the charter schools and those private schools to take in these children that your Democratic Party are trying to keep out of schools. And I'm praying for the parents to see things that are clear. Not to look at this foolishness that they're putting out in the liberal media, trying to frighten people. It's already been proven. They keep talking about Miss Kamala Harris, talking about look at the science. And why are you not looking at the science, Democratic Party? The science said that these things are very not set to hurt small children. Very few children catch this disease, and not even kids in college, as President Trump was saying recently. She spoke of parents who marched in the marches of Oakland for civil rights with Dr. King, but he marched. But Ms. Harris, did you know that the Democratic Party did not vote to support the Civil Rights Act of 1964? It surprised me when I heard about it. The Republicans passed that bill. But as usual, the Democrats try to always take credit for what the Republicans did. I heard Ms. Harris also say in her little speech, or her assortment of lies, say that President Obama, President Trump was just picking up what Obama already did. No, he is not. A lot of the things that President Trump accomplished in this economy we have present, which you'd like to remind us of, came through executive order. Even the thing to ease the restraint on African Americans have been sent to jail with those extended sentences that Ms. Kamala Harris supported in California. The Democratic Party has long been a party that identified with racism. And I don't know, maybe it's their conscience. You know, I had my father-in-law used to always say, not say, but he would say stuff to me, and I was like, you're coming at me with stuff that has nothing to do with me. This is your own conscience. And that's what I believe as far as racism is. The Democratic Party is so guilty thinking about all these things that they have done to the African American people that they're pushing this thing out and trying to push like Eve did in the garden. Or Adam did in the garden. No, it's not my fault, it's the woman's fault. They're still doing it the same way with the Democratic Party. It's not our fault, it's the Republicans' fault. No, it's not. Own up to your own issues, Democratic Party. I want to see them stand up and have the guts to tell the people that they were the party that supported slavery. They were the party that did not vote for the Civil Rights Act. She spoke of fighting for the people. Give me a break. But did not fight for the African Americans in her own district as a DA. She spoke of schools. Yet the city's mayors and governors in this country are keeping people out of schools. In Chicago, they just passed a ruling saying that they were not going to open schools. Well, how are you going to say that you're supporting the families? It's already been proven by the science that kids are better if they're in community and face-to-face learning. It's already been proven. The psychologists have come out, the psychiatrist comes out and say it, and you're still fighting against keeping schools open and opening up our state. the states that are governed by Democratic governors. They push the narrative constantly that it was the right's fault. They always do this. We're going to take a short break here on the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert. We'll be right back with you in a moment. Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network. I'm running out of time a little bit here, but we're going to go ahead and go over something real quick here. I heard Miss Kamala Harris. Now, how many of y'all can prove this? Is this is science? There are, I don't know, this tripped me out when I heard this. There are death every 80 seconds of COVID-19 in America. What would that do to the numbers if this were true? It's not true. It's another elevated figure where 3 million have died. There's Biden said in one of his speeches off the end of somewhere. Once again, the Democrats are lying like it is the truth. Lying about the safety of our children, lying about our ability to open schools and stuff back up, lying saying the science proves it, and it's a big lie. The science doesn't prove it. You know, there was a video done, of course, as usually they block videos and social media that they don't want you to see. And this video showed an empty hospital. I did see it on social media though. Empty hospital in a state where they were claiming there were so many people sick. I believe it was Maryland. So many people sick. They went in the hospital like, where's all the people at? And they were chased out by security because the gentleman was taking a cell phone camera showing that there was nobody, not even anybody in the emergency room. There pretty much was nobody sick. But she wanted to credit the economic increases to President Obama. Give me a break. Y'all been trying to do that for the longest time. Obama tried to destroy this country. How can he give them economic increase if he's trying to tax us more? Both their speeches were lies, and she spoke of abortion, trying to keep it open, pushing abortion even more. After all I told you earlier, the Democratic mayors and most of the Democratic cities support Planned Parenthood, the killing of our children. And a majority of children that are being killed are African American children. The problem is, people, we need fathers to stop being lazy and stay in their darn homes and take care of their children. If they're not in the home, take care of your children. The major problem we have in the African American community is the male image. We need that. And I would encourage you, African American females, also stop putting your black men down. They're not perfect, but no man is perfect. So please stop it. I went through it in my life. So anyway, that's the response. We get a few little response. President Trump gave a few words. One of the things he said that Kamala Harris was nasty. It's true. She had a nasty attitude when she was even in debate, interrupting Buttigieg as he was talking to Biden. That's rude. Who would do that? That's very rude. I've never seen anything like that in a debate. How you gonna cut off the other guy if he's asking a question? Let the two people debate. President Trump said this. I'm gonna say a few things. He said that I'm giving the American people $400 a week. But what did the Democrats do? All they've been doing is fighting against the Republicans instead of reaching some type of agreement. And they have given us nothing, a big zero in regard to this present stimulus plan. President Trump also talked about a $13 billion funding of the elementary school programs and to states for giving them funds to help them with their reopening. Things that they need, and he's also talking about sending out CDC teams to certain schools if there arises a problem, or he'll send certain teams out just to kind of be there to help them in reopening. He also told us to remind us that he is offering eviction protection through his acts. How many of us are having struggles? We all are through this pandemic. Then he said, this is what he said. He said he will forgive the deferred payroll tax after he is reelected. He will forgive those payroll tax that he deferred. Now, I know the Democrats don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear anything about decreasing the tax. But he will forgive the tax. And he even said something, I don't know if this is true. I kind of heard it. And I said, maybe he misspoke. Well, we'll see what happens in the future. But he says he's also going to do something else about payroll taxes for people who earn under a certain amount of money per year. Okay, let's look a little bit at the. This is something that the progressives. I'm sorry, the progressives that are supposedly for the Democrats, or the Democratic progressives, what you call them. And it says, why do progressive women feel torn about Kamala Harris? Progressives will have to defend the California senator's personal identity while maneuvering against her political identity. Political obsession and racism to go together like stars and stripes. First Lady Michelle Obama was horribly depicted as an ape. They try to say because President Trump, Donald Trump, called Congresswoman Maxine Waters a low IQ individual. In this article here, which is by The Guardian, which I in no way respect totally, they also want to, they said it and they have it worded such a way where you would assume that President Trump said that he didn't say nothing about Michelle Obama being an ape or anything like that. That's something that the Democratic Party wanted to push out there, move it closer together to the liberal media and try to make it look like. He said Maxine Waters is a low IQ individual, and I kind of agree with him. Not only is she a low IQ individual, but I have mercy for her husband. I don't know if she ever got married, but I don't know if I could. I'm sorry, I apologize. I couldn't wake up to that face every day. Just weeks ago, a congressman called, it says a congressman called Alexander Cortez a certain name or whatever. I'm not going to repeat it, but they don't tell you which congressman it was. It could have been a Democratic congressman, as far as I know. Okay, so we go on. I don't want to deal anymore with that right now. But during the first round of Democratic primary debates on June 19th, Senator Kamala Harris attacked now presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden over his opposition to federally mandated busing in the 1970s. Soon after that, she had rocketed Harris to a national spotlight. For a minute, she was up there, I remember. She admitted she did not support such a policy. Great. Her refusal to apologize for fraudulent attack on Biden may cost her a chance to be his vice presidential candidate. Of course, now we know he's already selected her. Biden has repeatedly said he would select a woman of color as his vice presidential candidate. Harris would be prime choice. Now, I said on my program last night, and I told you were watching the program last night, I told you that more than likely, most of the way, if they really wanted to challenge President Trump, a person with a nasty mouth and a rough attitude like Miss Kamala Harris, probably would be the best bet when a challenge was tough. Even he made a statement in his message today that she would be capable of being president. Well, I got news for him. More than likely, he's not going to be president. She's definitely not capable. The American people already know that quote pro Biden is already quid pro. I mean, they've already done stuff to really embarrass themselves in public already. I mean, I don't really have to say anything else. The racist comments and things that Biden put out in the past, give me a break. He's hurt his own campaign. And with Kamala Harris attacking the African American community in California, good luck in getting their vote, especially since you're also part of the state that's trying to take away our religious freedom. What have you done about that? Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden and his running mate, U.S. Senator Kamala Harris, made their first appearance today. But it was a very strange thing to me. It was very strange what happened, how it even occurred. And let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you this. I don't have much more time, but first I'm gonna take a short break, and I'm gonna come back at you in a moment, and then we're gonna share some final words. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice here on CGM News Network, the Voice of Truth. Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. The 77-year-old former vice president will be the oldest president ever if he wins, raising speculation that he would not seek re-election in 2024. Harris, the first black woman and first Asian American to appear on a major party U.S. presidential ticket, is the daughter of two immigrants. Let me tell you this. She's a daughter of two immigrants. And her mother was, not her mother, it says her mother was from India. No, I think her father was from India, and her mother was from Jamaica, according to what I saw in some of the articles. So this is a misprint. I believe her mother was Jamaican, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the father was Jamaican. But so that would make her part Indian American and part Jamaican American. But she's not African American. She didn't descend from the African continent. Maybe her mother did, but she came from Jamaica. So in all actuality, she's not an African American, at least as far as I can see, unless she could tell me and show me how the roots I am. And at events on Wednesday, the Biden campaign posted a video online that showed a virtual call between Biden and Harris, in which Biden asked her, "Are you ready to go to work?" The Democratic Party has done no work in all these years and all this year, other than try to impeach our president. And I don't really see any work being accomplished even now in Congress as they fight against us. Try not to put the president in a position that he has had another successful bill passed. That's really what it's all about, people. That stimulus package being held up and pushed back is really about the Nancy Pelosi, the head of the House, who really don't want to give you anything. They want to pretend like they want to give you something, but they don't want to give you anything else. They would have done it already. The Republicans has already conceded on certain points involving the stimulus bill, but they will not back up poor management of Democratic states and Democratic mayors. They won't do it. Even in this city, we have our own problems. In the Houston area, with a Democratic mayor, and you can ask the police department and the fire department about that. They'll tell you about it. But fortunately, our police are supporting the president in this upcoming election, and I do look forward to that. But let me tell you something. I was blown away. I have nothing, I love R&B music. Let's put it that way. I love R&B music, but this country is not only a black country. Why are we entering in this thing? You got a white man, the presidential candidate, and a black woman as the vice presidential candidate, and you're playing R&B music the whole time through the whole thing. Some old songs I really love, but back in the 70s where, of course, that former Vice President Biden proved that he was a racist. Even though Kamala Harris doesn't want to say it, the media and the things that he's done has proven it. The bills he signed and put more African Americans in jail, males in jail, than any other bill in the history of this country. Maybe even the Emancipation Proclamation and the Civil Rights Act that the people with prejudices and stuff during those times. Well, I'm going past my time, but I want to thank you for joining me here on the Black Conservative Voice here on the CTM News Network. And I'm going to go ahead and end right now. I'll get back at you tomorrow. I have so many things to say, and I can't say it all in this time period. So all I can say to you is what I always say. God bless you, God bless America, and God bless the world. And I really do care about this country. I pray for all our leaders, Republican or Democrat or Independent or Tea Party, whatever. I pray for our leaders, and I believe this is a country that's supposed to be run by the people, for the people, and we have a people in the presidency, President Donald J. Trump. Please get out and vote in this November election. Also, as I said earlier, we do have very low rates in advertising, so if you have a small business, please contact our free email if you want to advertise in the station. And I'm telling you, they're very low. So if you're trying to seek for advertisement for your business, your company, please contact us. You will find our rates are extremely low, and you will be able to reach at least 10,000 to 50,000 people. That's how many people actually watch this program. So once again, I want to thank you. And I want to say God bless you and good night.